Yeah. This is the Global Digest think tank group. So you are our guest today. What is your background? Please, you're here.
I'm Kurdish. I also introduce myself as a person from Kurdistan, and I am from Iran. Yeah.
I see. You are Kurdish from Iran.
Yeah.
I've been talking many professor within the region uh, and different people about current Iran U.S. conflict. So I'm not sure you following uh, the latest information. They did not happen second round meeting, right? Second round
Yeah.
negotiation thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. It didn't go through.
Do you think the second round meeting will be not at all happen, or they will not agree anything at all?
Mm.
How do you see that?
No, honestly, when we are approaching to the south, even when we are talking about the war, 2 days before the war, I published a short analysis in which I discussed that the war is plausible, but it doesn't mean that the war will happen. So, uh, always we are looking at this from the perspective of likely scenarios. The likely scenario for now is, there is a chance for second, even third, you know, round of negotiation between the US and Iran, because both sides are locked now in Strait of Hormuz. The situation is not good for Iran. It's so costly now. The situation is not also good for the US because they have to monitor that region. They should make sure all the ships that they are passing by that region being controlled, being checked to make sure they are following the rules that they are putting there, you know. And the other reason is the fact that Iran has their own agenda, based on the agenda they have, they want to make sure they gain something, not giving up everything. So in this case, they are trying to make sure in these like secret type of changing the messages, that happens before then and now. They are trying to make sure that they are gaining something for themselves. So negotiation is likely happen, is likely to happen, but it doesn't mean that a next round of war is not also likely. There might be a war between the two countries. They might strike Iran again because they struck Iran like a few days ago, since Iran did the same thing against the U.S. Navy. The ships, the warships that they were passing the Strait of Hormuz. So everything is likely, but from my perspective, it is how they are defining the agenda of negotiation and how much Iran could gain from these negotiations. If they are supposed to gain something that is not significant, but it's something that they can trust that they have some sort of objectives for themselves and the gains is reasonable. They
Right.
may continue the negotiation. And making the process longer is in Iran's benefit for now. But in long term, what happens if the blockade continue by the US over the Strait of Hormuz and doesn't let Iranian ships to pass? That would be not something that Iran like in long run, because the goods inside Iran are still there. They have everything they need. The staples are there. But in 6 months or 7 months, what happens inside Iran? The cost of goods are rising every day inside Iran. For example, before the war, if you ask people, if you talk to them, they say the some of the very special and main staples of their daily life, the goods, increased 3 times in 2 months. This means the blockade is working and the war affected the situation inside Iran economically, and the depression and economic inflation is rising every day.
Right. So probably Iran government the main they don't want the regime change, right? They don't want the government leader should be changed. The supreme leader should not be changed, and prime minister cannot be changed, and president cannot be changed, and army chief, army general, most top leader should be remain in power. That will be the main interest by Iran. But the last month, the first U.S. strike, U.S. Israeli strike in Iran, the supreme leader Khamenei and many army general, they were killed. That can you confirm that? Because nobody on the ground, so um, some people are still doubt it is really kill all of them top leader or they are not killed. Did you have any confirmation?
Oh, based on what the Iranian media also confirms, lots of those people who are being targeted, being assassinated, they are now dead. They confirmed it themselves. The Iranian media, national media, show the pictures of them as those who've been targeted, and it's something that we
Did you
know for sure.
see did you see the picture of dead body of Kamani?
Oh, no, 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 no. It's not like that. Nobody knows that. There were some sort of like photos being shown, and being published, but they are not for sure. You don't know if they are being made by AI, if they are really real or they are fake. Nobody knows about this. But what we know is not talking about these sort of, for example, if they are dead or not. They are dead, you know. And it's something that the Iranian government, they themselves confirmed it. But about the other part of the question that you asked, in Iranian scenario, they want to stay still the way that they are. They have their leaders as being chosen as a son of the former supreme leader, be the top supreme leader of Iran. But we don't know if he is pretty much alive, if he is dead, if he is in good shape, if he how he has been affected by the strike, and how he communicates with the people who are around him, like advisors, loyal people to him. And the second part is the fact that now in Iran, who is ruling is IRGC, the National Guard, the Iranian Islamic Guardian. They are having the pretty much power in the situation that they are controlling now. Before the war, yeah, there was some sort of balance between the civic government, supreme leader, and IRGC. But now they are controlling everything, and Iranian civic government has almost no power to make a change or make a decision about now and future. So, who makes the decision is now a group of generals that they are linked to IRGC, and they are writing the scenarios, and they are pretty much controlling everything inside Iran as public domestic policy and also foreign policy of the country. Even if they are going to continue the war, if they are going to negotiate with the US, under what circumstances, under what conditions, and what are the objectives for them.
So I mean before the war, supreme leader is pretty much control about Iran. Everything, politics or military, everything is under control of supreme leader. After the conflict, as of now, as you said, it's the key, the main control by IRGC, military, even not supreme leader or anybody. IRGC is the main at the moment, as you said. So it means supreme leader uh, power is pretty much declining, or and nobody can confirm about whether is a supreme leader or he is still acting or he is not acting or not effective or nobody knows. So and last time also I talked with one of experts, I mean, two experts probably, I talked 2 times inside Iran at the capital city of Tehran, maybe last year or a few months ago. Also, even they are think tank, they are experts, but they cannot certain information. They cannot know like that nuclear facility and nuclear, uranium. They cannot confirm because nobody are allowed to go there except for
Yeah.
their own military secretly uh, they are operating. So no expert even can not know inside Iran. So that something is very difficult to confirm, like uranium. Iranian news said they still have uranium, but US said they destroy it, but nobody can confirm because even Iranian people cannot confirm except for their own secret person, those
Yeah.
top leaders. So
Yeah.
that is the situation. But in my view, Iranian people, because of you see a lot of protests in several months ago, and a lot of people died, and Iranian people may be willing to have a totally a new regime, a new elected government. They don't want to see previous or continuation of supreme leader or those military leader. So they might want to see totally set of new regime and new leader directly from the people. How can you say that?
Three things that you mentioned. One is the nuclear facility. What has been targeted are the nuclear facilities of Iran. So this this one is pretty much destroyed. But we are not talking about in the case of the US, talking about the uranium. They are talking about the uranium, the materials, not about the facilities. They know that they destroyed facilities, but the uranium remained intact, and they have over 400 kilograms of uranium. Over 60% or maybe so enriched. So they have access to this part of their materials, and they can control it for the negotiation with the US. This is like upper hand for them. The second part is the Iran inside the country, if the supreme leader has power or no. IRGC, they gave him bay'ah, which means the word that we are accepting you as a supreme leader, and you are the supreme leader of the Iranian government, the state, the regime, anything. And they are following the lead, but their own way, because the supreme leader is not able to communicate, maybe, the way that it's supposed to. He is not appearing in public. This is how they are able to twist and manipulate the plot for their own sake and for the scenario that they have in mind. They are using the situation, so they are controlling everything in this case. But we don't know how they are communicating with the supreme leader. And in case of, for example, Iranian president, he has touched. Yeah, he said I had talked to supreme leader a few days ago, and it means that he had some sort of like maybe short talk. I don't know how they communicate with each other, but it means that they know something is not normal now, and this situation makes everything like different from before, because supreme leader, the way that he communicates is mainly through the IRGC. And this is how IRGC gains the power. And IRGC also gains the trust of the group of people that they are believing in the system, because they were able to continue the war with the US, to target many countries, to hold the upper hand in some cases, while Iranian government and the Iranian military is not capable of defeating the US. It's obvious, but they were able to resist. And the resilience of the Iranian military and the Iranian government is the key for them. If they stay in power, even if Iran is a bare land that has been destroyed pretty much, they say we are the winner. This is how they define the winning. not the way that, for example, they say, look, nothing happened, everything is okay, we are in power, everything is going on, and the government is still holding the power. It's not how it works. For them, they want to resist and they want to stay in power, even if everything is being destroyed. But this the territory of the country is under the control of the regime. So they define it as a win. About the third part of your question about the Iranian people, if they want what they want.
Right.
We don't have a general group of people. You say, for example, they are united, united under some objectives, and they want this thing. We have different group of people. Iran is pretty much a fragmented society. Some group of people are believing and they are loyal to regime, to the government. They are maybe, we don't know, but they are maybe 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. We don't know for sure. We have a group that they are opposing everything about the regime. Some of them are inside the country. Some of them are in diaspora. They are living in the US, in Europe, in everywhere, Some of them are supporting a group that they believe in. Some of them, they opposing that opposition. Then we have the minority groups. The minority groups that they are making up to 50 million of the population inside Iran. Yeah, some of them align with the regime. Some of them align with the main Iranian opposition, or some of the Iranian opposition, but the rest, they have their own parties, their own military wings, they have their own groups, interest groups, that they want something else. This is why when you look at Iran, you should understand there is no Iranian people that you say everybody is thinking like the same, supporting the regime or opposing the regime. So we have this fragmented like images about Iran. In this case, I believe, as you asked, yeah, some people, yeah, really want to see a change happen. They don't want to see any ideologic Islamic type of regime remains in power. They want maybe democracy. They want maybe monarchy. They want maybe a type of power sharing like a federal system, confederation, or some of them they may want independence, autonomy or something like that. This is how it is working inside Iran. So it's very hard to say, for example, what the people want. However, yeah, a majority of people, they don't like the situation that they are living in. The economy is bad. The political situation is not good. The social life of people being restricted, and now the government is executing the people that they are arrested because of the protests that happened throughout these 4-5 years ago, in the last few months, and in 2022 during the Jina Amini uprising, and they are executing them. This is how people are mad, and they are feeling they are living in a situation that nothing is being determined for them, and they don't know what happened next.
I see. So you want to say in Iran, there was never nationwide protest or nationwide people uprising? It is not nationwide. Last time protests are not nationwide. Who are those group? Which group?
If you want to say countrywide, yeah, I accept it. But nationwide, there are different views about this stuff too. For example, the last rising that happened in some part of Kurdistan, yeah, people went on the street. They protested the regime in Ilam and Kermashan. Okay, but when it comes to the rest of the Kurdistan, they just went on strike. This is what happened there. They didn't went on the street. They didn't protest, obviously, against the regime, because they had the memory of 2022, when they were suppressed very badly. They were targeted by live fire, killed many people, and they had the memory of the past. So they didn't do the same thing as the people in Tehran or in Kermanshah or Ilan did. This is how it worked. In other regions like Baluchistan, the same thing. They didn't go on the street to, for example, protest the regime. They are mad with the government, But they didn't do that because they had the memory of the Black Friday. In that day, 120 Baluchi people being killed by opening fire on the people coming out of the mosque after the Friday pray. And also with the Azerbaijani part of Iran. In Azerbaijan, almost nothing happened. Majority of people were silent during that protest. This is why I say it's very hard to say it was a nationwide type of protest. But yeah, people they are not happy with the situation, and if they have the chance, they are maybe opposing the regime, but in different ways. They have different ways to oppose the regime. Some of them stay silent. Some of them just go on strike. Some of them, yeah, go on street and they are opposing the regime the way that they can.
Okay, so probably most of Iranian people may be not happy or they are not satisfied with the regime, the government, but only some, I mean, different scattering protests, not the whole country. And here and there are protests because probably they may also afraid, and that's difficult to measure how many percents and how many population. It's difficult to measure, but many will be unhappy. We can assume that, and probably in this circumstance, it is very unlikely uh, to change the regime, right? The supreme leader and the military leader, the president will be unlikely to change, and they will never resign. Probably those current regime, they will never resign. I guess the military
You know,
president,
just
supreme leader, they will never resign. I guess.
there is one point, I always leave room, you know, for something that is not being expected, not being predicted. There is always room for the stuff that happened. Uh, when in 2014, Islamic State rise in power, nobody expected something like this happen. You know, when they are attacking Iraq, at least the Kurds, they didn't expect that the Yazidi people being targeted by them. This is what we should always leave room for unexpected scenarios that might happen. We don't know. What we know is the fact that, yeah, they don't want to resign. They want to stay in power. But the shape of power sharing and how the regime being defined is changing. Because as I said, before that, we had different group of interest groups that they were defining the regime in Iran. But now everything is under the control of the IRGC, and they are even able to manipulate everything that the president wants to do and give him a scenario, even how he is supposed uh, to send the messages to the world. They can't even control those stuff. This is how it works. And in case of Iran, yeah, maybe uh, people want to change the regime, but they stuck now. They don't know how. They don't know how. They went out many times. They will go out again and protest the regime because the economy is not good. These scenarios happens in the future. It's not something you say. Then people are afraid because they say, yeah, we went out, thousands of us being killed, and then the war happened. The war didn't do anything and didn't change something specific for us that we can have a hope for, that we had hope for. So in this case, what happens is the fact that in a few months, they still realize that the situation is getting worse. The economic pressure on their family is high, increasing every day. The Iranian economy is deteriorated already and is going to continue to feel more pressure because of the sanctions, because of the blockade, because of the lack of goods that come to Iran, or Iran is not able to sell the oil. They are stuck there. So this is going to put too much pressure on people. And one day, people may go out on the street very soon or later, but they are going to protest the situation that is not what they want. And they are not happy with this situation.
Right. So I agree that because there was no coordination between U.S. airstrike and Iranian protests. When Iranian protests, U.S. was not airstrike, and when U.S. was airstrike, Iranian are not protest. So there was no coordination. So there was no properly regime change or uh, revolution or any freedom movement in Iran is not properly done, and that is one of failure of U.S. mistake because U.S. did not coordinate. U.S. just saying we are doing our own interests, our own military strike. That is very much selfish. If they want to do a little bit better for freedom of Iran, they should at least coordinate with Iranian people to protest, and the airstrike should be simultaneously. It could be changed, probably when they are airstriking the regime and many people killed. At the same time, protest they could took over the power and the military. Then that should be possible regime change and a new government and a new life in Iran and freedom could achieve. But U.S. has a mistake, I think, in that position. They did not coordinate it and they did not uh, cooperated with Iranian. They just doing separately. They are just doing separately. Example also Kurdish issue. If U.S. Coordinate with Kurdish group, they could make coordinate and even Kurdish could be independent or something. It could be freedom for Kurdish people, at least if not the whole Iranian. So how do you see Kurdish can you?
In case of coordination, it's not easy to coordinate with people inside Iran and with groups inside Iran because Iran doesn't have a united, uh, broad umbrella of opposition that could bring people together. Iran, as I said, is a fragmented country and fragmented state and fragmented population. Everything is fragmented. It's very hard even for the opposition groups to bring everybody together. And the second fact is democratic values in Iran are so weak, and the opposition, they don't believe, in many cases, they don't believe in democratic values. They want to change the regime to another type of regime that is pretty much the same in authoritarian behavior values. For example, the monarchists, they still believe in some sort of type of regime that is way far away from democratic values. They don't want democratic society, and they do not coordinate with uh, different groups. And in many cases, they are avoiding to talk to them. This is how it doesn't work. So how the US wants to decide to talk to these groups? To which one? How? It's very hard. They go to talk to the Kurds. What about the Persians? To go to talk to Iranian or Persians, what about the rest? And if they are talking to monarchists, what about those who are majority and they are opposing the monarchists? This is the difficulty of the situation of Iran. This is the first part, and the second part about the case of the Kurds. In the case of the Kurds, when the US wants to, for example, move forward, like I don't know how, to coordinate with the Kurds to do something that benefits the Kurds too, also benefits the US, it's also very hard because we have regional actors. They are opposing the Kurds. They are opposing anything that the Kurds could gain, like the Turkey. They were part of these situation that happened. For example, the U.S. president said, "Yeah, we wanted to work with the Kurds." Then he changed his mind because of Turkey in many cases, because of many other countries that they don't like the Kurds to gain something because they are seeing the Kurds as a security threat to their own national interest. to their own national benefits, inside Turkey, because they have the Kurds inside Turkey. Because the case of the Kurds in Iraq is not still solved, because we have these type of challenges between Erbil and Baghdad, the Kurdistan government and the Iraqi government, between Shia and Sunni, between Sunni and Kurds, between Kurd and Shia. And the case of Rojava in Syria, what happened there, these cases are all open. They are not solved. So when the case of the Kurds being discussed by the US, or they want to coordinate with the Kurds have too many actors, non-governmental actors, non-state actors, and states that are opposing them. And it's very hard to coordinate with them. But yeah, I do believe that the Kurds have the potential, because they have their party. They are more ready to understand what is going on. They are somehow believe in democratic values. They try to make a broad umbrella of opposition, bring them together inside Iran to work with these other minorities, other nations, suppressed nations, and this is their agenda. But you have other groups. For example, the Persians, they don't want to lose the historical power that they had, dominating over the others, being in charge for a century or so. And they are feeling that if they are going to include or letting the Kurds or the other minorities have the lead of this situation and transition, they are losing their own their power. And what happens to them? This is how the Iranian government is able to manipulate and twist the plot for their own sake, in case if they wanted to make tension, rise the tension between these opposition groups. It's very easy, because the government sees that there is trouble among them. They don't understand each other. They don't want to include different groups in this opposition group. So the government is very easy for the government of Iran, for the Iranian regime to manipulate and control and play and divide and rule, in the case of the opposition. So when there is no strong opposition group that could represent majority of people inside Iran, how you can make a transition happen?
In this special time, in this special situation, at least they can do policy coordination with the Kurds. That at least they can do coordinated policy making, and also at least they should inform or let them know, and at least signal to the protester when they will be strike and when will be happen. At least if they know such kind of basic information, they can at least do something by themselves, even not much formally coordination. Informal also they can do many things, but US side also a lot of weakness, and they failed.